My child, when the sunlight fades over the hills, when the wind rustles through dry leaves with only a faint breath, do you feel your heart soften as if heaven and earth pause to listen? That is silence, not the void of abandonment, but the gentle embrace of God, where He invites you into a profound journey. When raindrops patter on the roof, each drop like the heartbeat of the earth, do you hear the whisper from heaven calling your name in love? It is not the clamor of the world, not laughter or applause, but the voice of the Almighty, preparing you for a blessing greater than your wildest dreams. This silence, my child, is not punishment. It is preparation. Like a seed lying still in the cold earth, awaiting spring's sun to sprout, you too are being sown into a sacred place where God shapes you with His creative hands. There are days when you check your phone and find no messages, no calls. Friends who once laughed with you now pass like fleeting birds, leaving you alone in an empty room. Fear not, my beloved. This is not loneliness, but a summons. God is drawing you away from the crowd, as He once called Moses to the high mountain, to hear His word as He led Jacob to a desolate place to wrestle with an angel and discover His true name. Be strong and courageous, for I am with you wherever you go. The scriptures echo like moonlight illuminating a darkened path. Paul, who preached with a fire in his heart, also faced days imprisoned in a dark cell where silence was his only companion. But in that darkness, he wrote blazing letters that stirred the world. Silence did not confine him. It set him free. So it is with you. When the world turns its back, when familiar laughter no longer rings, listen closely. That is when God clears the space like an artist wiping a canvas clean to paint a masterpiece. He brushes away distractions like a breeze sweeping dry leaves from a lake's surface so you may see your true reflection, not the name the world calls you, but the person etched in eternity. A potter sits at the spinning wheel, hands molding clay through each slow turn. The clay does not complain when pressed or pulled, for it knows that in the potter's hands it will become a radiant vessel. You too are in God's hands, in the silence of a sacred furnace. A woman once stripped of her dream job saw friends drift away like leaves carried by autumn winds. She sat by the window watching rain fall, her heart feeling shattered. But in that silence she began to pray. Her first prayers were only tears, but they soon became a song. She wrote a small book, each line like sunlight piercing through clouds, and her story warmed thousands of lost hearts. A young man, caught in the rush of city life, lost everything in a great storm. Home possessions and even faith seemed swept away. But in long nights by the river, with only the sound of flowing water and twinkling stars, he heard a gentle voice. You are not forsaken. You are chosen. He began to rebuild not just a house, but his faith. He became a guide for other youths, leading them through their own storms. Silence did not destroy him, it reborn him. My child, silence is where God kneels beside you like moonlight tenderly embracing a still lake. He teaches you to hear your soul's voice, the sound of your name called before the heavens were formed. Do not flee from silence. Sit still like an ancient tree standing firm through countless winters, letting your roots sink deep into holy ground. Seek me, and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. The scriptures whisper like a breeze, carrying the breath of hope. Today's action is not to fill the void with noise, but to open your heart to God. Each morning as the sun rises, spend a few moments in prayer listening. Write down the words He places in your heart, like a sailor charting a course across the vast ocean. This is how you begin to become. For in silence, you are not forgotten. You are being shaped like a river, quietly carving through a valley, sculpting majestic mountains. Trust, my child, that when God is silent, he is working. When the first rays of sunlight pierce the mist, when the first bird sings after the storm, you will see silence is not the end, but the beginning of a grand story. God is writing for you, my child. When autumn winds sweep golden leaves across the path, when grey clouds veil the sun that once warmed your heart, do you feel your life trembling like a small boat in a stormy sea? That is disruption, not a sign of collapse, but the loving hand of God rearranging the pieces of your life to fall into their rightful place. When a familiar river shifts its course, carrying away dry branches and pebbles, do you hear the whisper from heaven that every tremor holds a sacred purpose? It is not chaos, but the dance of the Almighty guiding you to a new shore where your destiny awaits. This disruption, my child, is not a sign that God has turned away. It is preparation for a greater journey. Like a field ploughed before planting, like a mountain enduring rains, to reveal hidden springs, you too are being shaped through upheaval. There are days you awaken to find everything familiar, now strange. The job you prayed for feels like a prison trapping your dreams. Friends who shared your laughter pass like fleeting birds, leaving you with unanswered questions. The path beneath your feet, once solid as stone, now cracks, roughens, and leads to horizons you've never seen. Fear not, my beloved. It is not falling apart. It is falling into place. Jesus, who walked among raging waves, also faced disruption. He left the peace of the carpenter's shop to enter the desert, where only hot winds and silence kept company. He was rejected by those he loved, misunderstood by crowds who once cheered. But in those disruptions, he found strength to carry the cross, opening the path to salvation for all. I am with you always to the end of the age. The scriptures shine like sunlight breaking through clouds, reminding you that God never leaves you alone in the storm. He is shaking the dry branches of your life, letting spoiled fruit fall so you may blossom and bear fruit for his glory. A farmer stands silent in a field, ravaged by a storm. Young rice stalks lie bent. The ground flooded the sky, heavy with dark clouds. Yet he does not give up. He bends down, gathers each stalk, and replants. He knows that after the storm, the soil will be richer, the next harvest more radiant. So it is with you. When a cherished job ends, when a close friend turns away, when plans you crafted crumble like sand through your fingers, do not think you are lost. God is ploughing your soul like a farmer tills the earth to sow the seeds of your destiny. A woman, once a teacher with a heart full of zeal, lost everything when her school closed. She felt the world collapse, her dreams swept away by the wind. For long days, she sat by a river, watching its quiet flow, asking, Lord, why has everything shattered? But in that disruption, she began teaching online, bringing knowledge to children in remote places. She not only rediscovered purpose, but became a beacon for hundreds of lives. Disruption did not destroy her. It shaped her into a guide. A young man, dreaming of being a musician, saw his vision fade when his family fell into debt. He set aside his guitar, working day and night to support his siblings. In long nights with only moonlight as company, he felt God had forgotten him. But in the silence of those nights, he began writing lyrics, each line a stream flowing from his heart. Those songs, born of pain, touched thousands, bringing hope to lost souls. Disruption did not quench his fire, it fanned it into flame. My child, disruption is how God opens doors for you. Like a gust, flinging open an old door, letting light flood a dark room. He is tearing down walls you built with comfort and safety. He does not bless by keeping you in ease, but by leading you through storms as he led Israel through the Red Sea. Trust in me with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. The scriptures whisper like a breeze, carrying the breath of heaven. Abraham left his homeland to become the father of nations. Ruth left her sorrow to enter the lineage of the Savior. Each disruption in their lives was not loss, but a door to God's promise. A river flowing through a valley never keeps a single course. Rocks, fallen trees, and bends force it to shift. Yet those disruptions make the river grand carving canyons, nourishing fields. Your life is the same. When you lose what you held dear, a relationship, an opportunity, a dream, do not think it is the end. God is guiding you through a bend to discover new horizons. He does not destroy, he recreates. He does not take away, he exchanges. What you see as loss is preparation for what he knows you were born to receive. There are moments you'll want to turn back, to cling to what's gone. Like a sailor on the shore watching an old ship torn by waves, you may weep for days past. But God is calling you to a new vessel, a greater voyage. Do not rebuild what he is dismantling. Step forward as Moses crossed the desert, as Jesus climbed Golgotha. Each step in disruption draws you closer to your destiny. A man, once a thriving businessman, lost all in an economic crisis. He sat by a lake, its still waters mirroring his despair, feeling the world had crumbled. But in that silence, he heard a voice. Start again. But this time build for others. He founded a charity bringing food and hope to the homeless. Disruption did not end his story. It opened a radiant new chapter. My child, disruption is God's furnace where he refines you like gold in fire. Like a mountain enduring rains to reveal hidden springs, you are being polished to shine. Do not curse the storm. Do not despise the mess. Rise like an ancient tree stretching after fierce winds and trust God is at work. Today's action is not to flee disruption, but to embrace it. Each day as the sun rises, pray, Lord, show me the purpose in these tremors. Write down the changes you face like an artist sketching before a masterpiece. Find a friend, a brother in faith, and share your story. They will remind you that you are not alone, that God is guiding you through the storm. For in disruption, you are not abandoned. You are being redirected like a river finding its way to the vast sea. Trust, my child, that when all shakes, God is near. Silence prepared your heart, and disruption is paving your path. Ahead. His grace will lift you, leading to higher ground, where you will rise not as a victim of loss, but as a beacon of hope. When dawn breaks through the mist, when the first bird sings after the storm, you will see disruption is not the end, but the start of a grand story God is writing for you. My child, when dawn's gentle light filters through the mist, when dew sparkles on grass like jewels of the earth, do you feel an unseen warmth enveloping your heart? That is God's grace, not a reward you must earn, but a gift he gives simply because he loves you. When you enter a room and eyes turn toward you, not for the clothes you wear or words you speak, but because a sacred light radiates from you like sunlight through stained glass in a church. Do you hear the whisper from heaven that you are chosen, loved, marked by the Almighty's hand? That is grace, my child, singing a song of hope in your very soul. Grace is a wondrous thing, my beloved. It does not knock politely or explain itself with human logic. Like a spring breeze wafting through a field, carrying the scent of unseen flowers, grace quietly steps into your life and rearranges everything. Where others struggle to find a way, you see doors swing open as if the heavens themselves heard divine commands. Where others toil to be noticed, your name is whispered in rooms your feet have never touched. It is not because you are perfect, not because you are more deserving, but because God has decided. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. The scriptures whisper like moonlight embracing a tranquil lake, reminding you that grace is a gift you need not pay for. Jesus, who walked among the sick and sinful, embodied grace. He touched the leper, called the tax collector by name, forgave the woman scorned by the world. He did not ask what they had done to deserve it. He simply loved. And that grace, my child, rests upon your shoulders like sunlight warming a field after rain. It cares not for your scars, nor minds your past mistakes. Even when you fall, when you think you've strayed too far for forgiveness, grace finds you like a river always reaching the sea, despite rocks in its path. A weaver sits at a loom, each thread drawn through with care. Some threads are bright, some dark, some broken, but in the weaver's hands they become a radiant tapestry. Your life is so. Days of failure, nights of tears, moments you felt worthless all are threads in God's hands. His grace weaves them into a masterpiece where even scars become patterns of hope. A man once lost to addiction lived in the shadow of despair. People turned away, calling him a failure. But one day, as sunlight streamed through a broken window, he knelt and prayed. Grace found him like a breeze carrying new breath. He rose, built a center for the lost, and became a light for hundreds. Grace did not see his past. It saw the promise God placed within him. A single mother struggling to raise her child through lean days felt the world against her. In long nights with only moonlight as company, she prayed through tears. But in that silence, grace came like a cool stream in a desert. She began sewing each stitch a prayer, and her garments not only sustained her family, but brought joy to those who wore them. People asked, how did she overcome? She only smiled, for grace needs no explanation. It only needs to be lived. That grace, my child, is the light that makes you shine, though you lack the highest degrees of flawless past or anyone backing you. My child, grace is not always a dazzling miracle. Sometimes it comes as a gentle rain refreshing a parched soul. Sometimes it is a door closed to shield you from a wrong path. Sometimes it is the strength to rise after a storm when all seems lost. Like Mary, who stood at the cross, aching as her son died, yet trusted God's promise, you too are upheld by grace through the darkest days. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. The scriptures call, like waves lapping gently at the shore, inviting you to rest in his loving arms. A mountain stands tall through countless storms. Rain roars, winds howl, but it endures its deep roots anchored in the earth. Grace is your deep root. When rejected, misunderstood, or feeling unable to go on, grace holds you firm. A young girl mocked by friends for dreaming of singing was told she lacked talent, beauty. But in nights, singing alone under the stars, grace whispered, "You are enough, for I have chosen you." She sang on her voice born of wounds touching millions. Grace did not ask how many supported her. It asked if she would rise. My child, grace not only lifts you, it makes you a beacon for others. Like sunlight through stained glass, casting vibrant hues, grace through you will illumine lost souls. Do not shrink for fear of being misunderstood. Do not dim your light to ease others' comfort. Let grace speak like a river singing through a valley. An elderly man, having lost his wife after years together, thought his life was over. But by a lake, as sunlight danced on the water, he heard a voice. Love again. He taught orphaned children to paint their colourful works full of hope, healing both him and them. Grace did not just save him, it made him a bearer of light. Today's action. My child is not seeking recognition, but living in grace. Each day, as dawn breaks, thank God for his unconditional love. Do a small act for another, a word of encouragement, a smile, a helping hand as grace has lifted you. Write down moments you feel grace like a sailor noting guiding stars at sea. Seek a faith community to share and be uplifted, for grace is not just for you, but to spread. Like a breeze carrying seeds to distant fields, you are called to sow hope in the world. For in grace you are never forgotten. You are being lifted like a bird soaring through a storm-cleared sky. Silence prepared your heart. Disruption opened your path, and now grace leads you to higher ground, where you will rise not to boast, but to shine. When the first sunlight touches the mountain, when the first bird sings in the valley, you will see grace is not just a gift, but the strength to live, love, and become God's beacon in the world. My child. When the first sunlight touches the mountain's peak, when a cool breeze sweeps through the valley carrying the sweet scent of grass, do you feel your heart stir like a bird yearning for the sky? That is God's call, not to linger in low places, but to rise to step onto higher ground. When a river surges past rocky rapids singing a song of resilience, do you hear the voice from heaven urging you to reach the destiny He carved for you? It is not ambition for a crown, my beloved, but a sacred mission, an invitation to become who He created you to be before time began. Rising higher, my child, is not standing above others, but surpassing yourself. Your fears, doubts, the invisible chains binding you to the past. Like an ancient tree stretching branches through countless storms, you are called to root deeply in faith, your leaves touching eternal light. There are days you wake with a nameless longing, a fire burning in your bones, making familiar circles unsatisfying. Laughter that once delighted you fades. Dreams that once fit now feel tight, like outgrown clothes. Fear not, my beloved. This is God calling you upward, as He called Peter to step from the boat, walking on water amid roaring waves. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men, the scriptures whisper like moonlight, guiding through darkness, reminding you your destiny lies beyond safe shores. Jesus, who climbed Golgotha with a cross on his shoulders, showed you the path to rise. He did not choose ease, nor linger where crowds cheered, but walked alone, bringing love even to those who rejected him. So it is with you. Rising higher often means isolation moments when no one understands the fire in your heart. But that isolation is not abandonment, it is sanctification. Like David, a humble shepherd facing Goliath with only a sling and faith. You are called to stand, though the world calls you weak. The Lord is my strength and my shield. The scriptures resound like waves crashing on the shore, lifting you over steep mountains. A woman, once a devoted nurse, found her work losing meaning. Long shifts and weary faces made her wonder, Lord, am I on the right path? In early mornings, as dawn glimmered on a nearby lake, she prayed and heard a gentle voice. Go further. She left the hospital for a poor village where children lacked medicine. With hands that had cared for hundreds, she built a small clinic. The children's smiles, like flowers blooming after rain, proved she had risen higher, not for acclaim, but to bring light to darkness. A young man raised in a slum dreamed of being an engineer, but was mocked for his lowly roots. In long nights with only stars for light, he studied by an oil lamp, carrying faith that God saw him. Despite friends leaving and family doubting, he pressed on. Grace lifted him through hungry days, and disruption cleared his path. He graduated, built bridges linking villages, and became hope for children like him. Rising higher for him was not fame, but leaving footprints for others to follow. My child rising higher is a journey of letting go. Like a river leaving its familiar valley to reach the vast sea, you must release what weighs you down. Relationships that no longer nurture habits, keeping you small. Fears holding you back. It hurts, yes. Like a butterfly tearing its cocoon to fly. Your heart will stretch as you let go. But in that release, you find freedom. Like Ruth, who left her homeland to follow Naomi. Unsure of the future, you are called to walk in faith. Trusting God leads to a field of blessing. An elderly man, once a builder, felt his life closed as old age came. The walls he raised were now dust-covered, and he thought he had nothing left to give. But in sunsets, as golden light bathed the fields, he heard a call, "Build again." But this time, build dreams. He taught jobless youths, his trade turning idle hands into skilled craftsmen. Rising higher for him was sowing seeds for the next generation, like sunlight warming barren soil. My child, higher ground does not promise ease. The path is steep, your feet will tire, and some days you'll long for safety. But on that ground, your vision clears. You see horizons others miss, hear heaven more plainly. Like Elijah climbing a mountain to meet God in a gentle breeze, you will find strength in your weakest moments. Rising higher is not for pride, but to become a beacon guiding the lost. Each step you take is a footprint. Each song you sing a flame kindling hope for those in darkness. Today's action. My child is not chasing glory, but taking a small step higher. Each day, as sunlight touches your window, pray, Lord, lead me where you want me to go. Choose to release one thing holding you back, a grudge, a fear, a habit. Find someone needing encouragement and tell them they are not alone as God told you. Write your greatest dream like a sailor mapping a voyage, trusting God guides you there. For rising higher is not just for you, but for those who will follow your footprints, for generations who will sing your song. For in the climb you are never alone. Like a bird lifted by the wind, you are upheld by grace. Silence prepared you, disruption opened your way, and grace gave you strength. Now rise like a mountain piercing the clouds, and trust God leads to his promise. When dawn glows over the valley, when birds sing after the storm, you will see rising higher is not just a destination, but a journey to become God's beacon shining love and hope across the world. My child, when thunder roars across the sky, when furious winds whirl over the sea waves raging as if to swallow the land, do you feel your heart tremble like tender grass before a storm? That is the attack, not a sign of destruction, but a sacred whisper from heaven that God is preparing to lift you to a new mountain where eternal light shines. When lightning tears the night like a sword of the heavens, do you hear the Almighty's voice that every tremor signals he is raising you above darkness? It is not the end, my beloved, but a refining fire preparing you for the glory ahead. This attack, my child, is not proof God has turned away. It is a sacred furnace where he polishes you like gold in blazing flames. Like a mountain standing tall through countless storms, enduring roaring rain and howling winds, to reveal hidden gems you are being shaped through trials. There are days darkness surrounds you like clouds blotting out the sun, making you wonder if light still exists. Doubts roar in your mind like waves crashing against cliffs, whispering you are not strong enough, not worthy, that your past will forever chain your future. Fear not, my beloved. Those are not voices of truth, but fierce winds trying to extinguish the flame God kindled in you. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. The scriptures resound like gentle waves lapping the shore after a storm, reminding you no darkness can erase your name from his love. Jesus, who stood in the desert, facing temptations, roaring like desert winds, showed you how to overcome attack. He did not bow to darkness, nor let doubt quench his light. He pressed through, bearing the cross on Golgotha, where every arrow of pain and betrayal aimed at him. But in that furnace, he rose like dawn, banishing night, opening salvation's path for all. So it is with you. When life's storms rage, when lightning of failure and betrayal rends your soul's sky, stand firm like an ancient tree rooted deep in holy ground. For God is with you like a flame burning through winter's night, like a seed buried in cold earth. Facing darkness and pressure, you are tested to sprout. That darkness is not a tomb, but a cradle of new life. Fierce winds do not topple you, but forge your wings, like an eagle learning to soar over sheer cliffs. When the world's judgments pierce you like hail pelting a field, let them pass like a river flowing past rapids, unhindered by any stone. Be strong and courageous, for I am your God. The scriptures whisper like a star twinkling in a pitch-black sky, guiding you through the longest nights. Like a forest fire blazing through woods, burning dry branches to enrich the soil. Life's attacks purify you. Relationships once dear now, like leaves falling in autumn winds, leave to make way for new growth. Dreams once bright now, like ashes after fire, signal God is preparing a new mountain for you to stand. Do not cling to what he dismantles, as waves cannot hold sand on the shore. Let go like a wildflower petal drifting in the breeze, trusting God will sow you in a radiant field. Like Jonah fleeing in a fish's belly, facing darkness and raging waves, you are called to rise from the furnace, bringing light to dark places. My child, attacks come because you threaten darkness. Like lightning rending the night, you are light-clad in flesh, a flame that cannot be quenched. Arrows of doubt and fear target you like hail on a hill, because the enemy knows your rise will shake heaven and earth. But no storm is strong enough to overturn God's promise. No wave is high enough to sink your ship of faith. Like David before Goliath, with only a sling and trust in God, you are equipped to face every attack. For God is your shield, your flame guiding through the desert. Like a waterfall, plunging from a peak, surging past every obstacle, you are called to pass through the furnace with courage. When winds of doubt blow like sandstorms veiling the desert sky, sing praises to God like a forest fire burning despite rain. When stones of failure block your way, like rapids halting a river, pray as dawn pleads for the sun to rise. Each step through the furnace is a gem polished, each tear a dew nourishing tomorrow's field. Like Paul imprisoned in a dark cell, yet writing letters like stars lighting the world, you are called to turn pain into song, the furnace into a beacon. Today's action. My child, is not fighting in your own strength, but standing firm in grace. Each morning as sunlight pierces the mist, kneel and pray, Lord, give me strength to pass through the furnace. Sing a hymn like a breeze carrying heaven's song to banish darkness. Hold God's word like a sailor's compass in midnight seas, letting it guide you through the storm. Find a moment daily when the first star appears to thank God for refining you. For attacks do not destroy you. They shape you like fire forging a sword, like a river carving a canyon. My child, after the storm dawn will shine brighter. After the furnace you will gleam like pure gold. Silence prepared your heart. Disruption cleared your path. Grace lifted you, and the climb forged you. Now through attacks you are ascending like an eagle soaring through clouds to horizons God promised. When sunlight first touches the field, when the first bird sings after the storm, you will see attacks are not the end, but the dawn of eternal glory. Where you stand as God's beacon shining love, faith, and undying hope across the world. My child, when radiant dawn spreads gold across the fields, when gentle breezes carry the earth's song? Do you see your journey from silence to ascension as a holy hymn? God wrote for you through moments of quiet when heaven's whispers taught you to hear your heart. God prepared you. Through disruption's tremors as storms swept away dry branches, He opened your path to new horizons. Through tender grace like moonlight embracing a lake, He lifted you through dark days. Through the call to rise higher like an eagle soaring through clouds, He forged you to touch your destiny. And through attacks like a blazing furnace refining gold, He raised you to become a beacon illuminating the world. This journey, my child, is not a straight path, like a river gliding through a valley. It is twists, rapids, roaring storms. But at every step, God is with you like a star guiding through midnight seas. I chose you before I formed the heavens. The scriptures resound like waves, softly kissing the shore, reminding you that you are never alone. From silence, where you learned to hear His voice, to the furnace of trials, where you were polished every moment is part of the masterpiece He paints. You are not just a recipient of blessings, but a living flame kindled to warm, cold hearts. A wildflower blooming in a desert, bringing hope to barren places. Like Jesus who passed through the cross's darkness to bring resurrection's light, you are called to rise from ashes singing victory's song. Like Moses leading his people through the desert, like Mary standing firm at the cross, you are invited not only to live for yourself, but for the lost. Each scar is a story, each tear a jewel, each step a footprint leading others to light. Let your light shine before others. The scriptures whisper like a breeze carrying seeds to distant fields, calling you to be an undying beacon of love and faith. My child, your light never fades. Though storms rage and darkness surrounds, rise like a mountain piercing clouds, and let your heart sing hope's song. Today's action is not awaiting miracles, but sowing faith's seeds. Each day, as sunlight touches your window, pray, Lord, use me as your lamp. Offer encouragement to someone in darkness, like dawn bringing warmth to cold earth. Write your story like a sailor charting a voyage to become a flame guiding others. Hook, my child. Your light is the flame God kindled, never to be extinguished, like the sun rising over timeless mountains. From the ashes of trials, you have risen like a lotus blooming through mud, radiant under heaven's glow. Your journey is not yours alone, but a beacon guiding countless lost souls. Let your song resound like the sea's endless waves, so the world knows God is still weaving miracles through you. And my child, share that light with the world. If this hymn from silence to ascension has touched your heart, leave a word in this community's light, like a breeze carrying hope's seeds. Share your story, whether small as a dewdrop or brilliant as the sun, to kindle faith in others. And if you wish to continue this journey, where God's light guides through valleys and mountains, subscribe like a sailor raising sails to catch heaven's winds. Together we will be beacons, illuminating the world with eternal love.